Are you confused about all these intolerances? Are you confused about what does gut health mean? Are you confused about supplements? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about supplements, gut health, and what really are you intolerant to? So let's start off with the big one, intolerances, especially one that some of you might think is the devil. Let's talk about gluten. Oof. You get the chills when you talk about gluten? Because I do, because I know how people look at me when I tell them gluten isn't bad for you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gluten isn't bad for you? Yeah, gluten isn't bad for most of the population. There's very few selective amount of people that are really gluten intolerant or allergic to gluten. And they have something called celiac disease, or sometimes Morimoto disease, which has to do with your thyroid, that can be intolerant to gluten. Do you have any of those diseases? Do you get severe inflammation, leaky bowels? Do you get throw up? Can you not move if you eat gluten? No? Then gluten probably isn't bad for you. Gluten is a protein. Gluten is a protein makeup. It's inherently not bad for you. You can digest gluten. I don't know what you read on the internet, but you're okay to eat gluten. Gluten isn't going to give you cancer. Gluten isn't going to make your hair fall out. Gluten isn't going to make you fat. Gluten is just a structure in that happens to be in bread sometimes. That's all it is. It's not the devil. It's just like milk. You know, some people can drink milk. Some people can drink a little milk, and some people can't drink any milk. Same thing with gluten. Think of it like that. Are you allergic to tree nuts? Yes? No. Okay? Are you allergic to shellfish? Yes? No. Same thing usually goes with gluten. Some people might be a little sensitive to gluten. Okay, you might not digest it as well because the type of foods you ate or the mixtures. Is it bad to eat gluten at that point? That's up to you. If you really feel deep down inside that gluten is making you feel bad, then don't eat it. Just like every food. You know, I eat Oreos and it tastes good at 1 second and then I feel like shit the other second. So I don't eat Oreos. Am I gluten intolerant? No. Do Oreos have gluten? I'm pretty sure they have gluten in them. But I eat bread just the same. It could just be the mixture. So don't be so quick to follow what everybody says generally on these internet forums. You'll get a lot of misinformation. Listen, in in all my years of schooling, I remember my one professor saying, "Well, we have like 90% of clients that say they're gluten intolerant, and then we test them for gluten and they're not." Because most people aren't gluten intolerant or allergic to gluten. It's just in their head. And the the notion is if it's in your head, it's in your gut because one goes to the other. If you feel like you're going to have an adverse effect with it, the placebo effect comes into play. And what that means is it might not actually be bad for you or might not make you actually physiologically feel bad, but you're so convinced in your head that it will that it does. So find this out for yourself. You can do tests. You can go to your doctor. You can go to your local registered dietitian. They can do a food sensitivity test and you can go from there. I don't recommend you go to your chiropractor and they do this weird blood draw test or like allergy test that's not a proper medical test because they're just trying to steal your money for the most part. But hey, that's on you. What I recommend, go to your doctor, get a proper allergy test, get a proper sensitivity test from your registered dietitian, and go from there. Next up on the list, we have gut health. What is your gut? Is it your stomach? No. Your gut is a place where food goes after to essentially be absorbed, right? Your stomach helps break it down, separates what needs to be there, puts some hormones in, and then it goes to your gut, and your gut absorbs everything. What's your gut filled with? Bacteria. Oh no, bacteria. I hear that word and I hear bacterial infection, blah, 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 blah. No, bacteria isn't inherently bad for you. There's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria. So generally speaking, there's good bacteria in your gut. And what does that help do? There's enzymes in your gut that help you digest things, help you absorb things better, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into the whole details of gut health because it's crazy. And sometimes there's things I don't even understand yet because there's always new developing features in your gut. But what does a proper gut do? Well, proper gut regulates everything in your body. It is called your second brain for a reason. If your gut is not healthy, you could have anxiety, you could be stressed, you could not sleep properly, you could have low energy. The list goes on and on. It's your second brain for a reason, because that's where you get all your nutrients, that's where you get all your everything you need for your body to process properly, your gut. So you got to keep your gut healthy. And how do we do this? Well, the main way people generally keep their gut healthy is with proper diet. You don't need anything special. You don't need supplements. You just need a proper diet. And how do we do that? Well, a balanced diet, not eating repetitive foods. What does that mean, eating repetitive foods? Well, some people like to eat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And what happens eventually? If you eat something too much, you actually have a chance of creating an intolerance, because you're eating too much of one food and your body needs a multitude of foods. Why does your body need a multitude of foods? Well, you don't get everything from one food. You don't get all the vitamins and nutrients from one food. You need a vast amount. So if you're eating too much of that one food, and sometimes you could become overbearing. Let's say you guys heard of mercury in fish, right? You eat too much fish. If you eat fish 3 times a day, 7 times a week, 50 whatever times a year, you're gonna get mercury poisoning. Why? Because you're eating too much mercury. Is fish bad for you? No, fish is extremely good for you in a specific amount. You're not supposed to go overboard in foods in general. So if you eat too much, that's why people that eat too many foods, they could become intolerant to other foods sometimes that they haven't eaten, and can only digest the foods they have eaten. Because what does your gut do? Well, your gut gets all the food that you eat, right? And then your gut essentially gets bacteria that's good at digesting those foods. Do you eat a McDonald's sandwich every day? Yeah, okay, so your body gets used to digesting a McDonald's sandwich so you don't feel sick. Okay, well, for me, I eat a generally healthy diet. What happens when I go out to eat McDonald's? Listen, I'm going to say it. I like how a Big Mac tastes. It tastes great to me. But it'll taste great, and then an hour later, I feel like shit. Why? My body is not used to digesting McDonald's. You ever eat super healthy? I hear it all the time with our clients. I ate super healthy. I've been eating so good, and then I went out to eat my favorite food, and I just felt bad, because your body changed. Your body threw away that bacteria that was digesting your old diet and got new bacteria that's digesting your healthier diet. And now when you go to eat that new diet, your body's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I just got rid of all that shit. Now I have to somehow digest it again with this specified bacteria? Yeah, that's what happens. Now, what can you do to improve your gut health, to improve digestion? Well, there's a thing called probiotics. You can drink a probiotic. You can take a supplement for probiotic. The one caveat is with probiotics, you have to keep taking it. If you stop getting the benefits. Sometimes people take it because they're having indigestion. They're not feeling as good in their stomach. You're not getting all the energy you want. So they go on a week binge of probiotics. It might help in that sense, but you need a certain cultures. I think it's roughly like 3 to 6 billion cultures in your probiotic. If they have like a mill, just don't even worry about it. Go drink your water. You'll be fine. Another natural probiotic is honey, yeast. These are all natural probiotics that you can put in your food naturally, and you don't have to spend extra money to make your gut healthy. That's why when we talk about supplementation, I always say you don't really need a probiotic if you're eating good amounts of food. You don't need a multivitamin if you're good in eating enough amounts of food, if you're eating a vast majority of foods. But if you're like, how I was as a kid, where I only ate like 4 things and that's it, well, a multivitamin, a probiotic, a certain mineral supplement will be good for you. You don't need supplements. Supplements are to supplement bad diets, and sometimes to supplement, low time. Like protein supplements are a great resource to have, but generally speaking, you don't need it. Don't waste your money. So guys, when talking about your gut health, intolerances, remember, intolerances are something you physically cannot digest to a certain extent. If you're allergic, you cannot digest it at all because you have an adverse reaction. Most of the time, you're not intolerant, you're not allergic. Go to a professional, get tested before you go down that path of zealotism where like you're against everything. Just because everybody else is against gluten doesn't mean you have to be against gluten. I like gluten. It tastes good. It makes me feel good. It doesn't to you? Don't eat it. Just because you're not feeling energetic doesn't mean, something's wrong with you. Remember, it could be your gut. Reevaluate your diet. Talk to a professional about your diet. Ask us questions about your diet. We will do a diet analysis. We'll see how you are eating based on what you need for your body. Is your gut healthy? No? Maybe. Well, maybe if everything's going well, maybe you go in a week or a month of probiotics. Maybe you need a multivitamin. There's a lot of things, but take it in steps. Remember, do your own research. Find out, are you intolerant? Yes or no? Then if you really don't know, you can go to a professional. Okay, now you want to do a little self-experiment with probiotics will make you feel better? Try them. Stay in for a week. Remember, keep those cultures high. If they do make you feel better, supplementation with probiotics is another thing you can do. These are all steps, right? This is just here. What I'm trying to get here is that you don't need to throw everything out because other people are doing it or because you don't feel good at a certain time. Take the steps necessary to improve yourself. Take the steps necessary to see what's right for you because you are an individual and you are different than other people. And what other people do may not work for you. And that goes for your intolerances, for your gut, and for your supplementation, guys. Thanks for watching.